Yo, what up, what up, what up, what up? What you know about that God King off that No Squares Allowed album, man? Appreciate y'all coming through. I got a great build for y'all. If y'all don't know who I am, my name is Ken Brisbon, Ken Billions, and today I got a great conversation for you, and it is about the blueprint to self-worth, what I consider self-worth, real self-worth, not fake self-worth. But I appreciate you coming. This can't go on without you, and I appreciate the people that I never get to shout out that been showing up for years, and you've allowed me to master my craft and get better and better, man. So I appreciate you, and you are very necessary, and I hope that what I do, I hope has made a positive effect in your life. I hope that you have got some wins and you have overcome your losses and your trials and tribulations. And that's what we do here. It's about personal development. And, you know, a lot of people I know don't thank the people for their eyeballs. But unless y'all tune in, we have no platform. So, you know, I want to honor you guys for that. It's so many to name that I know have shown up for me in the last 2-3 years. And I've said some things people don't agree with, some things people do agree with, some things that people are indifferent about. But I thank you for being here because this don't go without you. So make sure you like and share this video. And today's topic is the blueprint to real positive self-worth. And that's an important thing to me because we deal with delusion. And we don't really get to activate true and real self-worth. Because like I said, we deal with delusion. All right. And I'm going to get into delusional self-worth versus real self-worth. And hopefully today, if you're a person that is dealing with delusional self-worth or you don't have no self-worth at all, hopefully when you leave today, you'll have great self-worth and a different perspective about yourself and your abilities and capabilities. All right. So once again, I love you guys. Thanks for showing up. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with the kid, so I definitely got to put on for you, right? So I appreciate that. And again, if you don't know me, my name is Ken Billions, all right? And I suggest you find something to incorporate in your name that you consider positive. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, Williams and Smith, Brown, those last names don't have any increased capability, right? So my name is Brisbon. So instead of that, I'm like, yo, Ken Billions, you know? And that's what I'm aiming for. 3 commas, the $1 billion mark. And even if I miss that mark, if I land on 100 million, it was worth it. All right, so we're going to get into self-worth. And it's an important topic because everybody is screaming, I know my worth, I know my worth, I know my value, right? And it's interesting. I understand why people saying that because it's better than, you know, calling yourself derogatory terms and there's no room to pivot. But there's a hole in a lot of people's perception of self-worth. There's something that they're missing. And self-worth isn't something you get by doing nothing. Self-worth is developed from movement. Not just movement. Self-worth is developed from achievement. Self-worth is developed when you catch a win. Self-worth is developed when you accomplish something. Keep it real. When you keep your word to yourself, you set goals for yourself, and if you do everything you said on your planner, how do you feel about yourself? How's your confidence? Don't you feel wavy? Don't you feel better about yourself? That's how self-worth works. Self-worth is something that is developed when you do something at a phenomenal level. The way that our culture is right now, it actually underdevelops you because it tells you that you have self-worth by doing absolutely nothing. It tells you that you have self-worth by just showing up. And that's a huge mistake, okay? That's a huge mistake. And I personally blame, even though they mean well, I personally put the blame on motivational speakers, new age life coaches, pastors, and memes. And, you know, celebrities with witty one-liners about know your value. I blame these people because they give you trophies and certificates for just showing up. And they don't challenge you. And you can be totally underperforming. You can be at your worst space in your life, but let these people tell it your life is everything. It's grand. And you personally don't have to make any upgrades. And I think that's a mistake. And I think that is, I don't think that's a great way to achieve personal accountability. Okay? Personal accountability is super important. And you can't have self-worth if you blame any external thing for the condition that you're in right now. I know that, it's easier to look at society and say, you know what, if society was more favorable, then I can make the moves that I want to make, then I can get the win that I want to make. That's easy to say, if we had a different set of parents or our ex-wife or our ex-husband, or if I wasn't in this environment, right? But you got a supercomputer on top of your head and it's your brain. And with that, it allows you to really, really change your life once you change your focus and your thoughts and, how you interface with reality. So motivational speakers, pastors, memes, of course, and just a watered down version of The Secret. Thoughts are things, right? They talk about The Secret and the thoughts being things, but they miss out. They don't include personal magnetism, and personal magnetism is very important because how could you have self-worth and you're unlucky, right? You have to change your luck frequency. Preparation means opportunity. If you have self-worth, how come nothing good happens in your life? If you have self-worth, how come nobody gifts you, right? If you have self-worth, how are you losing? But you have self-worth, right? That's a delusion. And people make a lot of money off that. And I'm never knocking the hustle, and I don't want to step on nobody's toes. People got to get paper, right? But it underdevelops you, okay? You guys with me? Y'all good? All right, let me make sure y'all good in the comment section, all right? Man, you guys are the true MVPs out here in these streets, right? So, yeah, you can't have self-worth and you catching L's in your life. That's not how it works. You have self-worth by being important, okay? Well, I'm going to get into that more. And like I said, I think the ministry right now is doing a terrible job because it deals with a prosperity message. And that's what put butts in seats and telling everybody they got haters and God wants you to do something great. And it makes you feel good. I admit, like, some of these guys and women are dope at what they do. They're great wordsmiths. And the people are emotional, so they hit them on that level. And they have the organ playing and the music and the theatrics. And it's great. And you get a great experience, yet you don't go home and make any upgrades, okay? To have self-worth, you have to endure challenge. You have to build up an emotional immune system. You have to build up an emotional immune system and a societal endurance to have self-worth. Again, self-worth doesn't bleed or blend well with dysfunction, all right? So these motivational speakers, these pastors, the memes, these celebrities, they're killing your passion by giving you awards and trophies just by showing up. You recall me saying that about 2 or 3 minutes ago. Just by showing up, they give you these awards and tell you that, you know what, you're popping, you're great, you're this and that. And it feels amazing. It's that dopamine, it's what we want to hear at the time about ourselves, because the self-esteem is non-existent. So we want somebody to tell us we're important, but it doesn't work like that, because everything in nature is moving. Everything in nature is fulfilling its potential. The human being is no different than nature. You can't have self-worth just because you're cute, or you don't have self-worth just because you're here. Your black skin or your white skin doesn't automatically entitle you to anything. You don't have self-worth unless you show up and unless you show out. But I think that the publications and the media and everything that we're engaging with is doing a terrible job at us to help us develop self-worth. Showing up isn't good enough. Just showing up isn't good enough. Just being you isn't good enough. Now I know people say, "Yo, just be yourself." What does that mean, right? What does that mean? Just be yourself. You can't just. Self-worth don't work like that, right? Self-worth isn't just developed from being there. To have self-worth, you got to mean something to the world. You got to be valuable to have self-worth. You know, people always tell you to know your worth, know your worth. How can you know your worth if you mean absolutely nothing to the world? People know you by your contributions, whether that's in philanthropy, whether that's in business, science, biology, innovation, the arts. What is your contribution? Because your contribution is going to determine what your self-worth is, okay? So if you don't have any contributions to the world, that you don't have self-worth, and your contribution just can't be children, because that's not unique. And I don't want to diminish you as a mother or father, but having children is not unique because everything in nature does it. Your contribution has to be something that the rest of nature can't do. That's your imprint. That's your signature. Okay, no one does that like you. You're one of one, right? So just having children and being there, yo, no awards for that. That's not unique, okay? So you want to contribute. That hobby that you've been thinking about turning into a business, it may be there. It may be in that journal that you started writing a few years ago and you haven't picked it up in a long time. It may be there. Those ideals that you think are dumb ideals that, you know, you don't share with anybody because you're not confident, it could be in there. The decision or the ideal that separates you from your peer group and takes you to outer space, to the galaxy. You know what I'm saying? That ideal, that vision, that dream that you're not confident in, it could be the one. So you might want to move forward with that. Not might. I suggest you move forward with that expeditiously, because your self-worth is depending on that. See, self-worth is something on the inside, and it bubbles and develops and grows stronger and stronger the more we accomplish, the more we aim at high targets, the more we do the impossible, the more we go further past our father and our mother and our family and exceed expectations. When we do that, it makes our self-worth. Try it. Write everything you want to do tomorrow, okay? And do it. Goals for tomorrow. I'm not talking about 6 months. I'm not talking about a year. I'm only talking about small goals. Write some small goals down and do them all tomorrow. And by the end of the day, look at how you feel about yourself. You feel different than you did the day before. Now, expand that. Those are small goals. Imagine big goals. Imagine building a skyscraper. Imagine helping build infrastructure. Coming out with an app that changes people's lives. They say if you want to be a billionaire, solve 1 billion people's problems. Imagine you from humble beginnings, from the background that you come from. Imagine that you have the ideal that's going to change people's lives that are not even on the planet. Do you know how you feel about yourself? That right there is a different kind of money. They don't produce that kind of money because that kind of money comes from inward out. That type of equity, that type of feeling cannot be produced on the planet. It's something that comes from inside of you, and that feeling right there, man, you'll never be depressed again. You'll never be stressed again. No one will ever play you out of anything because you are a conqueror. And what you're doing is conquering procrastination and conquering your childhood fears and taking it to the next level and doing things that ain't never been done before. That's important. Okay? This is about self-worth. Okay? Now I have a question for the people that, you know what, I know my worth and I deserve. See, we're in the I deserve culture. Everybody thinks they deserve. I beg to differ. I think you get what you earn. Okay? So a question, are you an asset? If you deserve all this shit that you say that you deserve, are you an asset? Okay? When you walk in the room, is everybody in the room better? Are you an asset? Ask yourself that. And it's fine if you say if you're unsure, because we don't go to, our public school system doesn't train us to be an asset. So I understand if you're not an asset. You know what I'm saying? If you don't feel like that, that's a confidence thing. But that's something you want to ask yourself if you're saying that you have self-worth. All right, you have to be an asset, not a liability. Things have to get better with you around and not worse. Okay, you have to be an asset. Also, are you a walking economy? Meaning that Constantly, you're thinking of ways of how to make income. You're thinking of ways of how you can increase. You're a walking economy, meaning you can get money in California, you can get money in Asia. As long as there's some type of market, you can make money. That's what it's about, being a walking economy. You are just full of ideals, full of life, full of inspiration. You know what I'm saying? So physical money and non-physical money. The non-physical money would be when you're around, being a walking economy, that you help create equity in other people. You help with other people's self-esteem. You bring inspiration instead of expiration. Do you leave things better than you found it? That right there is also about self-worth. That means everything you touch turns to gold. Okay, that's the philosopher's stone, being able to turn base metals into gold. Well, if you're a person that leaves things better than when you found it, that means when you put your hands on people, they are the gold. The people are in a dead space are base metals, but when you come around and when you interact with them, you turn everything into gold. That's how you leave things better than when you found it. Now, this is about self-worth. Are you a walking economy, or are you an asset? Do you leave things better than you found it? Do you integrate vertically? Now that right there is a serious thing. Do you integrate vertically? Now some people have heard me talk about vertical growth in the past, and I'm going to talk about it again. But do you guys understand what I mean when I say integrate vertically? Do you understand what I mean? If you don't understand what I mean, just let me know. And I'll tell you what I mean when I say vertical integration or integrated vertically. It's a concept that I implore you to put into your life immediately. Being able to integrate vertically. That means wherever you're plugged in at, you go straight to the top. Make sure that you like and share this video. If you appreciate this content and you take it serious, there's no reason why you haven't pressed that like button, and there's no reason why you haven't put it on your page, all right? Don't be scared of what your friends think. This is between us, all right, and our tribe. Just put on for our tribe, you feel me? So, do you integrate vertically? Meaning anywhere that you're plugged in, you go straight to the top and not horizontal. Okay, most people move horizontal. They move from side to side, all right? But when you integrate vertically, you go up. I don't care where it's at. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be right away, of course. But when you integrate vertically, your movements are straight to the top. When you have vertical movements, your one decision is worth the average person's 5 years. Now, I want you to think about that. Your one decision is worth a person's work for 5 years. Okay, now what it takes them to do in 5 years, you do that with one decision. That's how vertical growth works, where you're not saying, you know what, in 50 years I'm going to get a promotion. You're like, no, what, in a year and a half I'm going to be the first person to scale like that. You're not saying, you know what, when I'm 70 years old, when I'm 70 years old, I'm going to be worth this much. You know what, you're like, yo, by the time I'm 40, I'm going to be worth this much. That's how vertical growth works. Now, what if you're a person that can make 2 vertical decisions every single year? Now, I just told you that one vertical decision is worth a person's 5 years. One decision, one choice that you make that is amazing is worth another person's 5 years. Now, imagine if you do that twice a year. Every 6 months, you make a vertical decision, a vertical choice, and it gives you vertical results, while other people are moving horizontally. So that means you made 2 decisions in 1 year that's worth somebody's 10 years. It's going to take them 10 years to do what you do in 1 year. That's vertical growth. And that right there will have your self-worth on 1,000. Nobody will ever be able to talk down to you because your personal magnetism will be on 1,000. No one will ever short you. People will always come correct. People will always want to be in your space. And every time you come outside, you know what? It's about more life. Vertical growth. So I beg you to sidestep the way that we've been taught of this horizontal lifestyle. Let me tell you something. It does take generations to build wealth. That's true. But you could get rich in a year, though. Okay? Because rich is a dollar amount. You know what I'm saying? Wealth is something different. It's not really money. It's position. Okay? Amongst the human family. So it takes generations to rise in the ranks in terms of position in the human family. However, economically, you could get rich in a year with a vertical decision. When you have self-worth, you have three things, all right? You have intrinsic value, you have equity, and you have an appreciation factor. Now, intrinsic value I relate to gold because the value of it is not on the outside, it's on the inside. And we're a culture that deals with imagery. We put so much value in image and how things look, but the way things look is always a lie. Our eyes are blind as hell. If you don't believe me, do your eyes from side to side. You're not going to be able to see straight. If you look in the mirror and you move your eyes from side to side, you're not going to be able to see. We're actually blind. This is how magicians are so popular and so famous, because they do tricks with our right in front of us with our eyes open. The real value of everything is always inside of it. You got to peel the watermelon back to get to the fruit. You got to peel the orange back, peel a banana back. Every single thing that's worth having on this planet is inside of something. The outside is not how it really looks, or there's no value in that. Okay, so self-worth deals with intrinsic value. Your value is not nothing on the outside. Your real gems and your real makeup and the thing that makes you you and the thing that makes you amazing is not on the outside. It's on the inside. It's something that you're doing, and it's really your thought. Okay, your thought. That's your intrinsic value. Your confidence, your energy. You can't see that, but it emanates out though. It manifests out when we're moving, okay? But your value and your thought, your value is intrinsic, okay? Equity. Equity so dope because you can seed into it, okay? And it grows. And if you apply the laws of compound interest, 8 to 16, 16 to 32, 32 to 64, if that's how our life is, now the way you seed into your equity is discipline, is your confidence, your self-worth equity. That means when you're seeding into your equity, your self-worth equity, you'll know, because the things that used to get you off your square before, it doesn't work anymore. And the tricks that you used to fall for before, it doesn't work anymore. Your floor has risen. You have upgraded your societal immune system to where you're not going to bite on something that you used to bite on. That's how you work on your self-esteem equity. And the dope thing about all this stuff is when you're on this path and you're doing this work, it comes from the inside of you out. You radiate, you know what I'm saying? You got a glow to you, and people will tell you like, yo, what's going on with you? It's something about you. I can't put my finger on it. It's because they have stepped in they have stepped in the radius or the area of your personal magnetism. So they're affected by it. Okay? Then you got the appreciation factor. Most people have a depreciation factor. That means they're getting worse. They're not making upgrades. They're not going to the top. They're losing. It's kind of like a car. When you drive a car off the lot, it depreciates. Most people have that energy. They have a depreciating essence to them. But when your self-worth is on 1,000, you have an appreciating factor. Now, it doesn't matter that you're getting old and your physical appearance may be changing. And you can't do a lot of things that you used to do at the gym. You can't do that. However, your knowledge is upgrading. Okay? Your energy and your frequency is upgrading. Your seeding ability and your discernment is upgrading. Those are appreciation factors. That's what they are, okay? And again, you do that by doing all the steps that I'm telling you, and then you appreciate. You have a worth. You're worth more than other people. Listen, I don't mean to sound arrogant, and I know this will rub people the wrong way because we live in a kumbaya society. I don't believe that, though. I believe there's gods amongst men. You know what I'm saying? I believe there's superheroes amongst mortals. And if you do the work on yourself, if you're disciplined and you stand on a square and your purpose is to constantly upgrade and constantly make sure you're a better version of yourself. Now, people won't agree with me, but I'm sorry. Your person is worth more than someone else. I don't care that the sun shines on you both. That you're not equal. And this is not about cars or none of that. It's the fact that you do the hardest job, and that's to go inward. And if you do go inward, you are better than the next man. Period. And the only thing you guys are going to have in common is death. And everybody will get to see who was who when we start judging the work that was left. Now, I know that rubs some people the wrong way, but I don't give a shit. Because it's about your personal self-worth and them teachings and that kumbaya stuff that they've been telling you about to be selfless, and you've never actually been selfish in your life, because if you was, why would you be in the situations that you're in if you was really focused on self? But 9 times out of 10, you've actually never focused on yourself. You've never been on your own time. You've always been on everybody else's time, the church's time, your parents' time, your spouse's time. If you was a parent young, you've been on that time. You never actually got to be wavy. You know? So, and to finish up, to really, 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 really take this self-worth thing that I'm talking about to another level, you have to do 2 things. Aim at difficult targets and accomplish things other people can't. That's very important. You got to aim at difficult targets and accomplish things other people can't. And what that does is it's going to raise your self-worth game to another level. When you aim at difficult targets, getting a car in the house, for some people, that might seem like a lot. And then when you get it, it's like, oh yeah, I got it. Aiming at a difficult target, okay? This is an example of aiming at a difficult target. Creating something that everybody can use. Creating something that everybody can use. That's an example of a difficult target. Another difficult target is some people have fitness goals. Some people have education goals. The difficult target is the fact that what you're doing can't necessarily be done by other people. So other people work out, but they don't look like you. Right? Other people start businesses, but they don't perform and achieve like you. Okay? The difficult target is being in the 1% of that. Being in the 1% of fitness. You know? Man, if I was in the 1% of fitness right now, my life would be different. I'm not in the 1% of fitness. That's something I have to be accountable for. But what if I was in the 1% of fitness? I already think highly of myself. What would I think about myself then? Man, that's how I think about my life. Right? I already feel like I'm a prize. I already feel like I have value. I don't care what no one has to say. I'm on my own job, right? And if I'm in the top 1% in fitness or in finance, if I already feel like I'm something, then when I get into the top 1% of it, well, damn, what kind of self-worth am I going to have then? So I'm scaling and I'm thinking about myself in the future. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that you want to take on too. So you want to aim at difficult targets and accomplish things other people can't. One of the things that people cannot accomplish is doing the things that they say. If you're a person that does the things that you say you're going to do, right? That right there automatically makes you have self-worth that's taller than Manute Bol. You understand me? Your self-worth is on another level. Because everybody lies to themselves. The majority of the public focuses on being monogamous to a person, then focuses on being monogamous to their word. Now that is backwards. Because how can you make it your business to get uptight when someone is not monogamous to you, but you're not monogamous to your own things that you say. You're not monogamous to what you said you was going to do January 1st. Okay? Be monogamous to your dreams and goals first, and then talk about what you deserve. Okay? Because what do you think your essence is saying to you? You don't even keep your word to you. How do you expect someone to come in your life and be everything to you that you can't be to yourself? I think that's unrealistic. I think that's delusion. And I don't think that's keeping it real. Now, you can't have those kind of expectations unless that's something that you can do for yourself. Now, the aiming at the difficult targets, the other one is keep your word. Do what you say you're going to do. Because I'm telling you, it sounds trivial and it sounds hella cliche, but man, it's some truth in that. Because people can't keep their word to themselves. People are not doing what they said they was going to do. They said they was going to be here. They said they was going to be there. Now, I know things take time, but God damn it, most of these people are where you found them at. There is no vertical growth. Man, not even horizontal. Straight stationary standstill. And those people have the nerve to say they deserve. They have the nerve to say they know their worth. That's nerve, but that's not true. And we're not going to deal with no lies. Okay? We're not going to deal with no lies. So take yourself serious. Take yourself serious and don't be afraid to reach for more. That is very important. You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to reach for more. And this topic is an important topic right now because we live in a culture, again, that's dominated by pastors, motivational speakers, and memes. And all these memes tell everybody that they're popping, and it doesn't get people to do the work. It doesn't get people to go to the next level. And y'all, that's what this is about, because Father Time is an enemy to us all. And eventually we got to get up out of here. But what is it that your hands and feet do? You know, what is it that you think about as soon as you wake up in the morning? What do you do with time, which is our most valuable essence? Okay, what do you do with that? And if you're having a hard time figuring that out, if you're having a hard time figuring your path out, and you want a non-judgment zone, and you want an unbiased opinion or perspective, and you need that extra push forward, make sure you dial that number right there. That's the Nothing But Game hotline. 888-565. I'm sorry, 565-8734. Let me help you go to the next step. If you're in limbo, if you're not sure about your next move, take yourself serious and invest in yourself. So make sure you dial that number of the Nothing But Game hotline. You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm very good at what I do, and I'm here for you. You know what I mean? I want you to have breakthrough. That's important. Breakthrough. Right? Breakthrough. Okay? And rewind the video. Make sure you go back and ask yourself, are you an asset? Ask yourself, are you a walking economy? Ask yourself, do you have the appreciation factor? All that's important. You know, and you're gonna have to keep it real with yourself. And it's okay if you don't have that right now. And if you have to pivot, then pivot. If you have to admit that, you know what, I'm not an asset, I'm not a walking economy, I don't have appreciation factor. If you don't have that right now, then keep it funky. And it's okay. Pivot. But you're not going to go nowhere in life if you don't have real self-worth. And you get real self-worth by putting in the work. It doesn't come any other way, people. You got to have real self-worth. All right? And that's what this is about. And it's a work that only you can do. No one's going to do the work for you. Take yourself serious. Take yourself serious and do the work. Okay? Do the work. And if you need help. Find a mentor. Find people that really love you. Find people that'll be honest with you. You know, find people that'll show up in your life. Okay? Because that's important, because nobody's an island. You know, but if you take 2 steps forward, other people will take 2 steps forward. You know what I'm saying? But you have to be more. And again, there's no self-worth with just standing idle. Okay? There's no self-worth with just standing idle. So, man, make sure you go to kenbrisbon.com. If you don't have none of the ebooks, cop that. If you don't have none of the music, make sure you cop that. Also, that hotline is 24 hours. All right? So, if I helped you, then the best thing you can do is take it and run with it. The second best thing you could do is go ahead and hit that Cash App. My name is Ken Billy, and you know it's 3 comma season. Until the next time, y'all, peace.